New discoveries are made each day, but while most discoveries are mere nudges into the direction of progress, others could have far-reaching consequences, if only on our understanding of the universe we live in. Let's take a look at some space discoveries of the last decade that will absolutely blow your mind. Ready or not, here we go. Let's start with the discovery of a super-Earth. In 2017, A. Suarez Mascherano and her team discovered an exoplanet with a mass almost 3 times that of Earth, with the HARPS and spectrograph on the Telescopio Nazionale Galilei, which is located off the coast of Spain. This so-called super-Earth is 21 light-years away and orbits its dwarf star in just 2 weeks, which means it's closer than Mercury to its sun. Scientists have been on the lookout for planets just like these because they might harbor the possibility for life. While this planet is relatively close to its sun, dwarf stars are relatively cool, at least compared to our sun, which means the planet still has the potential for water. But besides the planet's mass, we don't know an awful lot about the planet's surface or its atmosphere. In other words, we don't actually know if the environment would be friendly to life. But super-Earth-sized planets around dwarf stars have become increasingly more popular targets in the search for other life in the universe. So it's a good thing that they're also the most common type of planet in the galaxy. Can you imagine living on a planet with a red star? Next up, ice volcanoes. In 2015, NASA's Dawn mission found a single volcano-esque mountain near the equator of Ceres, a dwarf planet. NASA subsequently reported that the mountain, which has been dubbed Ahuna Mons, likely formed as a cryovolcano that released frigid, salty water, which is sometimes mixed with mud rather than molten rock, which is the case with volcanoes on Earth. In a more recent study, led by UA planetary scientist Michael Sori, it's been found that every year throughout its 4.5 billion year life, ice volcanoes on the dwarf planet generate enough material on average to fill a movie theater. This marks the very first time that the rate of cryovolcanic activity has been calculated from observations, and it's been a great help in solving a mystery about Ceres' missing mountains. It has been theorized that evidence of older volcanoes on the dwarf planet have been erased by a natural process called viscous relaxation, which basically means they have flattened out over time due to its own weight. Isn't that weird? Following the discovery of potentially habitable planets. In 2017, Xavier Bonfils of the Institute of Planetology and Astrophysics of Grenoble in the University of Grenoble-Alpes in France discovered an exoplanet about the size of Earth called Ross 128b. This could be the closest planet in our solar system that has the potential to hold life. And in 2022, another super-Earth-like planet called LP899c, also known as Speculos 2c, was discovered by international scientists led by the University of Liège in Belgium, also holding the possibility of being able to sustain life. Speculos 2c is a whole lot farther away than Ross 128b, but it's 40% bigger than Earth, and also orbits a lot closer to its sun. But because that sun is more than 6 times smaller than ours, and only has half its temperature, scientists are convinced that life may very well be possible on Speculos 2c as well. As our technology continues to advance, it's very likely that findings like these will become much more common in the near future. Next, liquid-filled canyons on Titan. NASA's Cassini spacecraft found vastly deep canyons on Saturn's moon, Titan, in 2013, which are about half a mile wide. But most importantly, these canyon-like formations are filled with liquid hydrocarbons. This marked the first time that researchers found actual evidence of both liquid-filled canyons and channels on Titan. Saturn's largest moon is surrounded by a thick, hazy atmosphere, and NASA's Cassini mission had previously imaged the channels flowing into the large northern sea called Lièa Mare. But new observations that made use of Cassini's radar's altimetry mode to measure their topography came back with surprising results, showing canyons that run hundreds of feet. The images also featured spectacular reflections from the channel floors, which was the first direct evidence that they are currently filled with liquids. The canyons on the north side of Titan are even more surprising because we have no idea how they were formed. Stop right there. Are you still paying attention, or have you slipped into an existential crisis? Well, come back and pay attention, because we have some more mind-blowing discoveries in store for you. Next, we'll dive into ultra-massive black holes, the collision of neutron stars, tsunamis on Mars, and a comet that spews alcohol? Stay tuned to find out more. But first, ultramassive black holes. Black holes are the invisible parts of space that are created when a star dies. Their gravitational pull is so strong that they're quite capable of engulfing both light and matter. The idea that black holes are actually a thing is scary enough, but NASA's Chandra X-ray telescope recently found something far more impressive: ultramassive black holes. Ultramassive black holes are 10 times bigger than what we originally thought, and on top of that, they're growing faster than the stars in their respective galaxies. These findings were discovered by astrophysicists at the University of Montreal and the Institute of Space Sciences in Spain, who took it upon themselves to observe 72 galaxies that all had supermassive black holes in their centers, which most galaxies do. Ultramassive black holes are probably, hopefully, the largest single bodies that will ever exist, and they easily put other black holes to shame. TON 618, the largest ultramassive black hole we've found so far, has 66 billion times the mass of the Sun. The fastest growing black hole ever observed has been given an approximate weight of 34 billion times the mass of the Sun, but may soon be the biggest one, as it continues to grow and devour a sun's worth of matter per day. Next up, the collision of neutron stars. In 2017, scientists captured 2 neutron stars crashing into each other for the first time ever. Whenever a star runs out of energy, it collapses into itself, which results in either a black hole or a neutron star. When 2 neutron stars collide, it revealed that these high-powered impacts not only produce gravitational waves that cause a ripple in space-time, but they result in heavy elements such as platinum and gold as well. Since then, scientists have kept a close eye on the merger, but things haven't exactly progressed as they had extrapolated. An X-ray signal was unexpectedly lingering for much longer than expected. Initially, researchers thought that they were looking at the afterglow of the high-energy jet of material that was shot out by the collision, but they had expected these X-rays to have faded after a while. But when they looked again, months later, the bright X-ray signal was still there. It has since been suggested that what scientists are seeing isn't actually the afterglow of the jets shooting out from the collision, but the afterglow of the massive kilonova explosion itself, which is another thing that scientists have never observed before. Following on, tsunamis on Mars. NASA-funded research that was released in 2016 revealed that shorelines located below the surface of Mars were created by 2 mega tsunami events. These findings support the theory that the red planet once had a massive ocean underneath its surface. A newer study in planetary and space science identifies the remnants of a giant landslide that happened billions of years ago, cascading down the slopes of the largest known mountain in the solar system, Mars Olympus Mons. And when all that material fell into the water of Mars, probably ancient ocean, it created a huge tsunami that stretched between 25 and 43 miles long, and ultimately crashed against the shore of the planet's northern hemisphere. This landslide-induced tsunami would naturally require a large body of water, which means this is even more evident in favor of the existence of a long-disappeared Martian ocean. And lastly, an alcohol-spewing comet. A team of scientists led by Nicolas Biver of the Paris Observatory in France reported in 2015 that Comet Lovejoy left behind itself a trail of ethyl alcohol, which is the same thing that's found in your booze. In total, the team found evidence of 21 organic molecules, including a type of sugar. We found that Comet Lovejoy was releasing as much alcohol as in at least 500 bottles of wine every second during its peak activity, said Biver, who is also the lead author of the paper that was published in Science Advances, in which the findings are detailed. The discovery of organic materials in comets supports the theory that these celestial objects could very well have contained life-creating elements. This marks the first time that ethyl alcohol has been observed in a comet. The researchers used the 30-meter radio telescope at Pico Veleta in the Sierra Nevada mountains of Spain to observe the comet as it passed closest to the Sun, which is when the comet's atmosphere was brightest and most active due to the heat of the Sun, and was releasing 20 tons of liquid per second. And that's where we'll leave it for now. Which of these surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments what you think. And thanks for watching!